Am I the asshole for not reminding my mom's husband of her birthday? He has been married to her for 2 years. Dated for one before that. I, 26, knew he's quite busy but didn't think he would forget. On mom's birthday, my brother and I got her one present each. Her favorite actress is starring in a new series, so I bought her the novel it's based on, so she can read it before the show is released. My brother got her a Pop Mart figurine. When we went over to their house and her husband realized that he forgot, he got upset. He said we should have warned him since we know how much time he spends at work and that things can slip his mind. Not the asshole. If he's so successful at work, surely he knows how to put important dates on a calendar. For his birthday you so bold buy him a calendar. The real issue is that, instead of owning his own screw-up, he tried to blame you for not reminding him. That's just a really bad look for a grown-ass man, who has a passing fancy with how calendars work and presumable has a smartphone, with a what's it called, yeah, it's a freaking calendar. I feel bad for your mom that she is married to someone so self-absorbed, he can't be bothered to remember her b-day. It's not your job to remind a grown man of his wife's birthday. Does he pay you for being his personal assistant? No? Then not the asshole. Not the asshole. If a grown man can't figure out how to use a calendar, he's trash. Am I the asshole for telling my friend to mind her own business about my weight loss? I, 38 female, weighed at my highest 351 pounds. Under the care of my doctor, in combination with a few other health issues, decided that my habits were the problem. I have an unhealthy relationship regarding food. I had never seriously attempted to lose weight, and medications and fad diets will never work for me. So, I decided to do it the harder way, dealing with my issues. Over the last year I managed to lose 54 pounds and am for the first time in 6 years under 300 pounds. I am in no way done with working on myself, but nonetheless proud that the number is going down. I made a post on my Facebook just stating, down 54 pounds, finally moving in the right direction, that was it. Yesterday, we grilled out and invited some of my husband's friends. I wouldn't consider them my own friends because if not for my husband I wouldn't socialize with them. I am extremely uncomfortable eating around people, always have been since childhood. I didn't start gaining weight until my late 20s. I am working on eating around people. I ate what I would normally eat if I were alone. I had one burger, one hot dog, some beans, and chips and a Pepsi and later a brownie. Here's the issue. None of what I ate is what most people would consider healthy, I know that. But where I am not looking to supplement my diet yet. I'm working on the habits and my attitude about food. Clearly, still working as this has set me off. The amount I ate, however, was perfectly fine. The wife of my husband's friend looked at my plate and said, "I guess you're done with your diet?" I just commented, "I'm not on a diet." She said, "According to Facebook you are. You're bragging about your weight loss." I said I wasn't bragging necessarily, I was just proud that I'm doing better. She replied with a very snarky tone, "How is that?" while nodding her head towards my plate. I also get extremely agitated when questioned and am made to feel I have to justify everything I do. Her tone and her accusatory comments set me off, so yes, I snapped a little and said, "I don't see how any of this is your business, so don't worry about it." She got a huffy and said, "Yeah, you're really improving," and walked back inside. Her husband, my husband friend, told me, that was uncalled for, and I said, "So is her questioning me and judging me?" He rolled his eyes and that was the end of it. Maybe I am sensitive, always have been about food, but one of the things me and my therapist talk about is how I think people are judging me when in fact no one probably cares about what I'm eating or I'm doing. I'm learning to understand that I'm not being judged under a microscope. But her tone and her facial expressions were extremely judgmental. My husband agrees with me, he's not a big fan of hers though, so maybe he's biased, but I keep replaying it over and over. I just didn't want to explain it all to a woman I barely know when I was trying to just have a good time. Am I the asshole? The golden rule about food should be you only pay attention to another's plate to see if they have enough, in the general sense of food insecurity. In a grill out or other food setting, eyes on your own plate. That chick probably has some insecurities of her own regarding food. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, she's the one that started out being hostile towards you, then tried to play victim when you rightly called her out for it. Not the asshole. I think this is reflective of how our unhealthy relationships with food are often reinforced by our environments and not calling out that behavior reinforces it. Not the asshole, in fact, you showed more restraint in your responses than I would have. Going forward, anytime husband wants to entertain that couple, make a point of being elsewhere, having other commitments. There is no reason for you to interact with those people. Not the asshole. Nobody should ever make comments like that about another person's food choices or body, especially at the table while sharing a meal. You socially sharing about your journey is not an invitation for public judgment. Polite food conversation consists of, "Isn't this tasty? Are you enjoying it? I wonder if he'll give me the recipe for the marinade." Period. Paragraph. Do these folks get invited back? I sure hope not. Not the asshole. What rude behavior for a guest. Am I the asshole for telling my friend I can't stand her daughter? I don't have any children of my own, but one of my best girlfriend had a son of her own and adopted her niece at birth 17 years ago, even as a young mom. My friend did a great job raising her children, and at some points worked 3 jobs for ensured her children got everything they could ask for, which includes buying each of them a PS5 for they wouldn't have to share. I have always applauded her for spoiling her kids and providing a luxury of life for them all on her own. Now here is when things got sour. Her adopted daughter fell off the handles and stole her car and purse, which she didn't have a license to drive. She didn't call the police on her, and which I get it, you don't want to get your child arrested. Her daughter ended up leaving to live with her biological mom, my friend's sister. While in her care she had no rules, never went to school and ended up pregnant. We all gathered around to help in any way we could for this baby. My friend even threw a massive baby shower and we all put a lot of effort into making it fun. Well, my friend's daughter showed up but spent most of the party outside passing joints around. Then when she was back at the party didn't appreciate all of the people who helped put on the baby shower but made a big speech thanking her mom, her biological mom, while referring to my friend, the one who raised her, as her first name. It was terrible to see my friend treated awful, but my friend still continued to provide everything to her daughter and bought 2 of everything so the baby would have everything at my friend's house and at baby's home. The baby arrived and everything was sugar sweet. My friend was by her daughter's side to help with the baby and was back to being referred as Mom by her daughter. It was nice for a month. When the baby was a month old, my friend's daughter was already trying to pawn off the baby to go back to partying and getting into trouble. How do I know this? She moved into my mom's neighborhood and also was posting to her Snapchat, not realizing I wasn't blocked from seeing it. I mentioned it to my friend and she was living in denial. It got to the point where the daughter was posting airing out her baby daddy drama to the internet and asking for drugs, parties, and even posted that her friends called a bomb threat to a school and mall laughing about it. I at that point removed her from my social media. Here's where I may be the asshole. My friend wanted to throw her daughter a big party to celebrate her 18th birthday. Talking about themes and gifts and wanting to make it very elaborate. I thought about what I wanted to say and settled on advising I wasn't going to come because I couldn't stomach watching her daughter disrespect her and that I really can't stand being around her after how she's been acting. I wished her a great party and hoped her daughter appreciated her throwing her a party. My friend hasn't spoken to me now in 2 months, which makes me think I am the asshole. Not the asshole. Tell your friend that you are here for her, but you can't support her daughter. Then, be there for her when her daughter eventually leaves her with the baby. It's painful to watch and it won't get better. Don't beat yourself up. Your friend is deluding herself. I understand that you cannot stand the daughter who is sponging off her mom, treating her badly. She's not ready to hear the truth, so she's angry with you. She may not speak to you again for years, until she's ready to deal with the hurt and pain. Not the asshole. Everything the daughter is doing will eventually come to light. It may take a while, but your friend will see through the daughter's act and figure it out. In hindsight, she's going to feel bad for not believing you. Just let her know you're there for her and that your door is open. You're absolutely not the asshole and you are not wrong, but as a parent that is a hard thing to hear about your child, and as a young mom myself I can only imagine how your friend feels after everything she went through to ensure that her kids had a great life. As unfortunate as it is, your friend is going to have to come to this realization on her own. Am I the asshole for telling my friends to leave my birthday party after they welcomed someone I didn't invite? I, 18M, threw a birthday party for myself at our local mall with my close friend group, 4 girls, all 17F, and 1 guy, 17M. We're all in the same class and pretty close, so I only invited them. There's a classmate of ours, Bob, 17M, who I'm not comfortable around because of things he's done in the past. My friends know this. Despite everything, I've actually tried a few times to be friendly toward him, but it never worked. At the party, we were sitting at a cafe when Bob suddenly showed up, pulled up a chair, and sat with us without asking. I was surprised and uncomfortable, but before I could say anything, one of the girls told me not to say anything because Bob would get sad. She said I should think about how I'd feel in his position and that he wouldn't stay long. I told her it's my birthday and I should get to decide who's there. She said that didn't justify treating someone badly and that since Bob is our classmate, we owe it to him to include him and that I should just get over it. I told her that if she cared so much, she could leave with him when I asked him to go. She got upset and said I should just wait it out. So I waited, for about 40 minutes. The whole time, I was really uncomfortable while everyone chatted with Bob like he was invited. When we got up to leave the cafe, Bob followed us. I was about to ask him to leave when the same girl said that if I did, it would look like all of us wanted him gone. At that point, my male friend asked if I wanted to hang out just the two of us, and I said yes. He also didn't like the guy. So we quickly left together by just telling them that we had to leave. About 30 minutes later, the others called us, really angry that Bob realized what happened and that they had to explain themselves. They said I was an ass for abandoning them. I told them it was weird how they suddenly acted like Bob's friends even though none of them ever talked to him before. I was the only one who ever tried. They cared more about how they looked to him than about how I felt on my own birthday, or at least what it felt like. Later, they texted me saying I was wrong for excluding a classmate and that I needed to accept him. They said I'll have to work with people I don't like in the future and asked me to think about how I'd feel in his shoes. I haven't replied since then. Honestly, they treat me in general really good. They ask me to hang out with them, even though they don't talk to me much there, but it's normal since they are closer to each other than with me. So, am I the asshole? Edit. For clarification, when Bob first showed up, I whispered to the girl next to me. We were sitting at a not too large but not small either table, and Bob was on the opposite side, that I was going to ask him to leave. She immediately pushed back. I was trying to be quiet but not too quiet because I kinda wanted him to get that we were talking about him but not exactly hear what we were saying, in hope he understood that he wasn't welcomed. Not the asshole for wanting to have just those you invited to be there. You were uncomfortable, you attempted to alleviate the situation, but your friends weren't having it. You handled it the best way possible. How convenient for Bob to just show up. Are you sure one of your other friends didn't invite him? Not the asshole. Honestly, this is just one of the negative ways that girls are socialized. We teach girls to put others' feelings ahead of their own. Because of this, most women probably would have just let him stay even if they didn't want him there. And that's probably what your female friends are being taught, that they owe the people around them to never feel bad or rejected, no matter how it makes them, the girls, feel. You are right that you don't have to hang with him. It would be worth having a convo with your girlfriends about people pleasing. Maybe even say you're worried about them. If they will hang with anyone just so he doesn't feel bad, what else will they let themselves get pressured into? Might be a really eye-opening shift of perspective for them. Not the asshole. Sorry, this is a birthday party and you haven't been invited, should have been enough. Your friends are ridiculous for thinking you owe Bob your time. Not the asshole. You may have to work with difficult people in the future, but you don't have to accept them at your birthday party. This is your personal time and they should respect that. If not, you need new friends. Bob has taken control of your friend group and I'm sure was invited to join you. Sorry. Later, they texted me saying I was wrong for excluding a classmate and that I needed to accept him. Why? Why do you need to accept anyone? You can coexist around someone without embracing their company. And the follow-up line of you having to work with people you don't like in the future? Yeah, obviously. And there's zero expectation that you socialize with those people outside of work. Just because they're around you doesn't mean you have to be their friend. You don't owe Bob a damn thing. Not the asshole.